Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDN TV Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications.
Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party (PDP), may have embarked on a bumpy ride to next year's presidential election with widespread disapproval of the party's violation of its power rotation principle in the conduct of its presidential primary election won by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Political analysts in the Niger Delta, where the presidential nomination has bred widespread resentment, fear that with the choice of Delta State Governor Okowa as Atiku's running mate, the bumpy road leading to 2023 appears even jumpier for the PDP. Since 1999, Nigeria's oil-rich South-South region has been under the firm grip of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). So much so that people from the region have always voted overwhelmingly for the party in all elections from 1999 till date. Will the 2003 election follow the same pattern? While some political observers believe the region will always vote PDP no matter the circumstances, others think that certain strategic mistakes of the PDP in the selection of its presidential and vice presidential candidates will jeopardize its winning chances not just in the South-South region but the entire country at large. The emergence of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as presidential candidate of the PDP in May this year appears not to have gone down well with some party members in Nigeria's south. Their seeming dissatisfaction with Atiku's emergence is informed by the party's time-honored zoning principle, which rotated the presidency between the north and south while it held sway as Nigeria's ruling party between 1999 and 2015. Disenchanted party members wonder why the PDP chose to jettison its zoning principle in readiness for next year's presidential election that will most likely be keenly contested. In fact, the backlash trailing the PDP presidential ticket has been worrisome. Elder Gosde Orubebe, former Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, immediately resigned his membership of the party over the emergence of Atiku as the presidential flag bearer. The former minister, who maintained that the PDP was not ready to regain power in 2023, also expressed solidarity with Governor Nyesom Wike for his commitment to the ideals of the party as well as his impressive outing at the presidential primaries. Soon after Orubebe's resignation, Kassim Afegwa, a former Commissioner of Information in Edo State and one-time political ally of Atiku, dumped the PDP for what it describes as the manipulative process that produced the party's presidential flag bearer, which did not respect the zoning principle. Executive Director of Finance and Administration at the Delta State Oil and Minerals Areas Producing Development Commission, DESOPADEC, Chief John Nani, says Atiku's emergence is in line with PDP's power rotation principle.
The strategy of PDP is to see to it that PDP has produced Saturnals as president of this country for 14 years out of the 16 years. Now North needs to produce the president. Why APC? They've gotten 8 years, and the 8 years is a Northerner. Therefore, the president needs to come from the south. So it's a different ideology, it's a different thinking entirely.
A political analyst, Sonny Okocha, who believes the PDP erred by giving its presidential ticket to a northern candidate, says a popular and politically savvy running mate will have doused the growing tension in Nigeria's south.
The capacity that Wike would have mustered, Okowa do not have such capacity. And that is why South-South people are pained.
Indications are rife that the emergence of Delta State Governor Okowa as vice presidential candidate of the PDP may have fanned the flames of resentment greeting the party's presidential ticket ahead of next year's election. Senator Okowa, governor of oil-rich Delta State and chairman of South-South Governors Forum, had on the 11th of May 2021 hosted the Southern Governors Forum, which met in Asaba, the Delta State capital, to demand power shift to the south at the expiration of President Buhari's tenure in 2023. They met again 8 weeks later in Lagos, where they reinforced their position for a southern president in 2023.
Unanimously agreed that the presidency of Nigeria be rotated between southern and northern Nigeria and resolve that the next president of Nigeria should emerge from the south.
It, however, came as a rude shock to many that Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, who was privy to resolutions of the Southern Governors Forum, decided to abandon the collective decision of his colleagues and support Atiku, a northern candidate, with whom he now shares a joint presidential ticket. In his reaction, Chief Edwin Clark, leader of the Pan-Niger Delta Forum PANDEV, took a swipe at Okowa for accepting to run with Atiku, describing his action as selfish. In a statement issued on behalf of the Southern and Middle Belt Leaders Forum, Edwin Clark accused Governor Okowa of spending extensive sums of money to lobby for the position. According to the statement of the Southern and Middle Belt leaders, and I quote, "We therefore reject Governor Ifeanyi Okowa and his vice presidency and leave him to his lot. But let the world know that this is a betrayal of the highest order," unquote. Port Harcourt-based legal practitioner Festus Oguche agrees with Chief Edwin Clark that Okowa's action was selfish and unconscionable.
Some of us look at it as being a display of opportunism. I believe that the Asaba meeting was very, very strong enough, and the declarations made went to the annals of history. Now, look at Okowa. He's the vice presidential candidate to a northern presidential candidate. How does that make him feel?
In his reaction, Governor Okowa affirmed that he did not betray southern Nigeria, as he was only following the dictates of his party that agreed to throw the presidential ticket open. Chief John Nani agrees with Governor Okowa.
Machiavellian's principle says that you get the power by all means, but do good with that power that you have gotten to the people. I don't see any betrayal in it.
While the PDP has settled for a northern presidential candidate, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC has produced Bola Tinubu, a former governor of Lagos State in southern Nigeria, as its presidential candidate. For the APC, the choice of a southern presidential candidate was arrived at after several consultations with relevant stakeholders. It will be recalled that APC governors in the north, led by Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State, had resolved that the presidency be zoned to the south to reflect equity in the leadership of the country.
In the interest of unity, in the interest of peace, we recommended that, and also justice. Our recommendation is that the next president should come from the south.
Zoning the presidency to the south appears to be a political masterstroke of the APC that leaves the PDP in a quandary. Since 1999, the PDP has drawn copious strength from the South-South geopolitical zone, which for the first time produced a vice president in the person of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, who eventually ruled Nigeria as president between 2010 and 2015. Festus Oguche feared that the PDP is heading for an imminent defeat without the support of the South-South geopolitical zone in 2023.
What PDP had done during the primaries, the intrigues involved, the manipulations, the betrayals also will go a long way in reducing or diminishing the chances of the party clinching the presidency in 2023.
As the APC and the PDP strategizes on how to win the 2023 presidential election, Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki says the current disenchantment of the populace with the two political parties may just cost them victory at the election. According to Governor Obaseki, Nigerians are already looking beyond the APC and the PDP for alternatives.
The level of disenchantment with the existing parties, I'm sure in all our homes here, we have so many people now who call themselves obedience. I don't know whether you have them in your house. Just ask them, all those children, where are you, which party are you for? They say obedient. Do you understand? They don't want us. They are not talking about APC or PDP. They are looking for alternatives.
As revealed in a recent update released by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Nigeria's South-South geopolitical zone has the highest number of new intending voters who have completed the ongoing continuous voters registration exercise conducted nationwide. The latest data shows that the South-South leads the pack with about 1.52 million newly registered voters, while the Southwest follows closely. The implication is that the South-South has transformed into a formidable political region that the PDP and the ruling APC, and indeed any other political party that intends to win the 2023 general election, cannot afford to relegate to the background. No doubt, power rotation is key in an evolving Nigerian democracy that is currently under the influence of religious and ethnic considerations. Political observers are asking if the 8-year rule of President Muhammadu Buhari, a northern Muslim, should be followed by a possible 8-year rule of another northern Muslim. As some Nigerians are saying, if the PDP wishes to brighten its chances of victory in the 2023 presidential elections, it must begin to find ways of convincing South-Southerners and indeed Nigerians that the country has come to a point where merit must now supersede ethnic and religious considerations in Nigeria's politics and governance.
Inside the Niger Delta,